let's try this. Try a different one. Is a many splendid thing. It's the April rose that only grows in the early spring. Love is nature's way of giving a reason to be living. The golden crown that makes a man a king. Once on a high and windy hill, in the morning mist, two lovers kissed, and the world stood still. Goodness, did I scratch my keyboard here? Maybe that was Baphomet. Then your fingers touched my silent heart and taught it how to sing. Yes, true love, a many splendid thing. Let's see how it goes. Okay. I have been dealing with the title Antichrist, which I do not like. Satan has been pulling all sorts of dirty tricks on me. He keeps claiming that I have his heart. Maybe I have his heart before he turned evil, but I am against rape and I'm against brain control. And I have been dealing ever since the beginning of August, when I learned that Satan made me his Antichrist because God the Father told him he could choose anyone on earth to be his Antichrist. I have been dealing with it. And one way I dealt with it is I told myself I wanted to be a righteous Antichrist. And it seemed that everything, all my attempts to be righteous were twisted and interpreted to be evil. Satan would show up and he would tell me that you're just like me, Gail. This is exactly how I am, so self-righteous, justifying all your evil. Why don't you just own it like I do? I cannot be comfortable with believing that I'm evil. When I was a little girl, my mother always raised me. She always screamed into my ear that I was a selfish, no-good girl, and I have been trying to live that down. And the problem that I got into trouble, the Gail shield fell several times in the past couple months. I think there was one time when I sent out a bunch of emails when my website went down, because I wanted to make sure that people knew who I really was, that I was not this nude elderly woman who was sending nude photos of myself to everyone. So I tried, well, see, when my website is up, I feel like my story's getting out. And with it down, I felt like that, like Satan and the Jesuits and the automatons were going to rewrite history. I am currently of the belief that Satan and the automatons are working together right now. Yeah, I think so. I think he's playing like he's against them, but I think he's allowing them to use brain control on me to give me obsessions, and he's not doing much to stop them. In fact, I think he's encouraging them. I think he's going to the automatons and telling them she's really evil. She just needs to own it. And she's being such a hypocrite. And even God agrees with me. And so he's been... I am not in agreement with him on me being evil. In fact, I don't even think Satan is evil at his core. He's off his path. In our last encounter, when I said that I would forgive him and that I loved him and that I believed that he would get right and quit being mad at God, he said, ooh, 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 then he left, okay? And then right after that, I didn't like it that I was labeled. First of all, I don't like the title, so I requestfully respect that everybody quit addressing me as Antichrist Gail. I can tell that, first of all, you have to understand that I did not choose to be Antichrist. Satan chose this for me. Okay? This is not what I stand for. I remember when he came to the Supreme Court, and I did write a Gail series stories about this, he stated that he is against true love in all its forms. Well, I am for true love in all its forms. So I respectfully request from now on, people address me as True Love Empress Gail. I want that to be my title. That's why I opened up this video with a song that I loved in the 1990s. It was they made a movie in the 1940s based on the story of a Eurasian doctor who fell in love with a war correspondent who ended up dying, I think, in the beginnings of the Korean War. And there was an Academy Award-winning song that came out of that movie called Love is a Many Splendored Thing. And that is what I attempted to sing to you. Yeah, I even went to the trouble to get the sheet music. But I am not comfortable with I am for true love. And I told myself, I said, Satan, I'm really thankful you saved my life from the automatons. But I think that was a ploy to try to get me to side with him. But I cannot side with him. I have true love in my life. I have it with my husband, Brent Spiner. I could never go against that. When Brent came into my life in the early 1990s, he brought me such joy, and he made me believe that I was a good person, and that I was beautiful inside and out, and for that I am eternally grateful. He's helped me to find myself. I cannot go against that. What's ironic is that in Satan's attempts to make me as evil as himself, they attempted to clone my Catherine the Great and King David genetic profile. This was like around in the early 21st century. And you know what my clones would do? They would jump off a cliff and kill themselves because they would rather die than belong to the Jesuits. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, with my Antichrist powers, I am unable to kill myself. Not that I'm going to. I have true love in my life. I have every reason to live. I've got my soulmate. I've got my dream man, who is Brent Spiner. And I told myself I could be happy in the Antichrist position because at least I had my Brent. And Brent said he would go with me to hell. He'd go with me anywhere. But you know what I think? I am now of the belief that I cannot be Antichrist and have Brent at the same time. I think it is Satan's goal to take Brent from me. Let me tell you why. In the past week, at our Discord hangout about a week ago, one of my Patreon supporters, Moongoon, showed me how I could go to my archive website. And, well, my website, as you know, has been down for about a month. I just learned yesterday the reason it went down is because the automatons hacked into the website. And Zach is trying to remake it so that they can't do that. And Rule 13 was telling me that probably within the next couple weeks the website will be back up and that I don't need to worry about a backup. The reason I was worried I wanted to back up the website is because I had this obsession, and I basically had it my whole life, to prove that I'm not that selfish, no-good girl that my mother always said that I was. And that always gets me into trouble. And then I will don different pairs of shoes trying to prove that that's not who I am. Yeah, I've done that my whole life. My story, Millennial Gail, went into that really, really good. I was in the middle of working on a story called Gail's Men Going Their Own Way, but I think I'm going to change my next Gail series story and make it True Love Empress Gail. Every short story that I write in the Gail series has a different theme. This one is going to be one about being comfortable with who I am. For a while there, I was going to give myself the title Sage Guru Gail. And it wasn't so much because I wanted people to make an idol out of me, but unfortunately, that's how it ended up. Unfortunately, I have to be really careful which titles I assign to myself because Satan's always trying to interpret them in an evil way. And so I put that strip on a visual that I had made of one of my audio readings, which I have since removed because God the Father, as a result of that, claimed that I was the most evil. He gave me the Nobel Prize as the most evil Antichrist in all of history. And that wasn't what I was hoping to do by making myself Sage Guru. I was hoping that people would practice the aspects of the Hindu and Buddhist spiritual practice that I was adopting that would help us to avoid the obsessions that made us evil, but it didn't turn out that way. It encouraged the sin of idolatry, and I'm learning now that it's like Buddha once told me. He said, Gail, Jesus doesn't need another spiritual teacher or a religious teacher. He has plenty of those. He just wants you to tell your story. So I'm going to, and they do help me. The spiritual teachings help me personally, but I can see how a person whose heart is set on evil could listen to those and interpret it to mean that whatever evil practices they're doing, they can continue. How I wanted people to interpret them when they were listening to them was to believe in their inner goodness and to let it flow. To not cause their fear and doubts about their goodness to block the peace, joy, love, and inner goodness that's inside of them, and to keep it from making them be at peace with themselves. That was my goal, but it didn't turn out that way. Unfortunately, because I am the Antichrist, Satan will try to interpret everything I do in the most evil light. And then he's working, I believe, with the automatons to use brain control on me to give me obsessions to go in that direction. So I've been thinking about how I've caused the Gail shield to fall in the past month. It appears related to obsessions to prove that I'm not that evil, selfish, no-good girl that my mother always said I was growing up. So it appears that in order to stop from going into these obsessions, I have to believe that I am not, that I am a good girl. I have to believe it. When you stop believing that, and you start trying to prove to yourself and everybody else that you're not evil, the obsessions that you go into actually make you evil. That's what I'm learning. Yeah. If I can just relax and accept the fact that I am True Love Empress Gail. Now, when I believe that, and I am at peace with that, that's when I do best. I was very much that way in the early 1990s when Brent Spiner first came into my life. He made me believe in the existence of true love because I felt like I really had it with him. And I still feel that way. And I'm not going to let Satan or anyone else take that away from me. So what happened was, the past week, Satan came into my apartment and he raped me. I was using the humping method of communication again, where I would say, Satan, is it true that my Gail Shield's at 100% because I'm working on the backup to this website so I can write great Gail series stories? And Satan was faking his Brent in the brain to brain and saying, yes, it's at 100%. Yeah, I found out from Rule 13 at our Discord hangout that that's what was going on. He was lying to me left and right. And then he was telling me in the brain to brain, impersonating Gail. And he said, oh, and by the way, Gail, your website is all it's doing is parading nudes to the whole world. That's why Zach had to take it down. In fact, all the coding has been corrupted. And so he's had to take down the website. And the only way he can build the website properly is he has to do it from your backup website. So he's working off of your backup, and he's actually visiting your apartment to build the website up from scratch. And it's probably going to take about 6 months or so. But your website will be up. This is what Satan was lying to. And Brent, and then what was happening was when I would ask him, oh, is this really true? What I'm hearing that Zach is visiting in my apartment, and then I'd get a hump, and I would think, oh, that means yes. Oh, I'm on the right track. That was Satan. And then Brent was trying to get on Skype. He was trying to talk to me through the brain to brain. He was trying to send me emails to let me know that my obsession with doing the website backup was weakening the Gail Shield, where it went down almost to zero in the past week. And, I got to admit, I was staying up far too late, thinking, oh, I've got to back up to 2022. People don't need to see me as this nude elderly woman parade. That's not how I operate. I want them to know that I am a good, virtuous person, that I am a true love supporter, that I am not this evil Antichrist. So I had this obsession to prove that I'm not this person, and I thought I got to get my website up. The automatons and Satan are trying to erase history and make me appear somebody that I'm not. That was what was driving me. And then Satan was lying to me and saying, oh, you are doing such a good job getting up the website back up, enabling Zach to get the truth out. Yes, and that's the basis for the Gabriel China Fox News website. In fact, if not for all the hard work that you were doing on your backup website, the world would not be knowing the truth. And as we all know, evil people like to rewrite history when they take over. And this is what's happened. This is what he was telling me. And he was encouraging my obsession. Well, I found out. And he was blocking Brent from Skype, from email, and in the brain-to-brain. So Brent was not able to communicate with me. He would try to come into my apartment to, to kick Satan out, and Satan would just blow him off and make him leave, like, go away, go away. And then he was humping me all week. I never got an orgasm all week, though. He's not a very good lover. Yeah. I got to admit, I'm kind of lackadaisical about sex, I am. I'm kind of lackadaisical. I'm not anti-sex, but I'm kind of sometimes I'm in the mood for it. Sometimes I don't care, And so he was humping me yesterday. Rule 13 said they aborted thousands of devil babies. Thousands, okay? I was so mad, I lightning bolted Satan. I said, Satan, you raped me this week, and you lied to me left and right. I told you that I don't want sex with you, and you violated me. And then you kept me from being with Brent. So I'm really mad at him. I disown the title Antichrist. And then they had a Thanksgiving dinner at Church of Gail. Fortunately, he didn't harm my husband Brent. And the good gods were there. We call them the Jesus God Squad. That would be not Baphomet, Muhammad, Triton, Lakshmi, Buddha. I might have left one out. There's about 5 of them, Muhammad, Triton, Lakshmi, Buddha, and I probably left one out. Brain control's really bad. And then all the bad gods were there too. Shakpona, Baphomet. Well, Baphomet's, I think he's a fallen angel. And Satan. And Satan was boasting. See, Brent was trying to let me know that he overheard a conversation with Satan where Satan was boasting and saying, oh, I'm going to go to God the Father and say how proud I am of my Antichrist. She's being so evil and disobeying Jesus, which means I was disobeying the Gail commandment to go to bed, make sure I get my 8 hours of sleep. I was giving way to obsessions because she's obsessed with archiving, making a website backup, disobeying all of Jesus' orders, and being so evil. I'm so proud of her. And according to Rule 13, none of the good gods answered him. They gave him the silent treatment. Good way to handle him. I am so angry at him that he raped me this past week. At least he didn't harm my Brent, but I'm angry at him. I respectfully request that nobody address me as Antichrist Gail anymore. My new title is True Love Empress Gail. Hopefully, Satan is not going to be able to twist that into something evil like he tried to do, like he did with Sage Guru, okay? Actually, I don't like that title, Sage Guru. The problem with the Hindu and Buddhist teachings, okay, is I think some of them are a little off. And they can be interpreted as a way to encourage evil. I have adopted some of the Buddhist and Hindu spiritual teachings, but not all of them. See, the problem is I've got a history of being at war. And unfortunately, when you practice war, whether you like it or not, some innocents are going to be hurt. And I've made some really serious mistakes as a leader, especially when I gave way to fear and doubt. Yeah. Satan wants me to live in that state permanently. But I have concluded that I cannot be comfortable as Antichrist. Not evil Antichrist. Righteous Antichrist, yes, but evil Antichrist, no. But apparently, it's impossible to be the Antichrist if you're righteous. So I have disowned the title. My new title is True Love Empress Gail. I support true love in all its forms. And Satan, if you don't like it, you can lump it. You can even quit making me your Antichrist. I don't think he's going to do that. He still thinks he can make me evil. It appears he's getting plenty of cooperation from the automatons, too. Yeah. We should be making better progress with them than we are. The fact that we're not indicates to me that Satan has betrayed me. And I don't trust him. Look how tricky he is. They tried to make clones of me and they have not been successful. The clones would go jump off a cliff rather than be an evil Jesuit. I am for true love in all its forms. I also believe you should respect people that are monogamous or asexual. And I'm not trying to make somebody a label, but asexuality and monogamy does exist, and it should be respected. Those people do not deserve to be treated with disrespect. It appears to me that Satan thinks all monogamous people are pricks, and he thinks all asexuals are snobs. I disagree with him. I'm not saying that we are a label, okay? But somebody with asexual tendencies, okay, should be treated with respect. If they don't want to have sex with you, don't force it on them. If a monogamous person wants to honor the true love they have with another person, don't force them to be something other than who they are. This is where I disagree with Satan. He does not respect those two types. I'm not saying that we're a label, but I disagree with him passionately about this. My husband is monogamous. The goddess Lakshmi counseled us, and she let me know that. This doesn't mean that he cannot be happy in a marriage to myself, okay? Because I'm not. But it just means that Brent and I have found ways that we can have a good relationship despite the fact that I'm not monogamous, okay? But I'm not a sexual beast either, like Satan is. I don't force my ways on everybody else. In my opinion, Satan is an intolerant bigot. Yeah, I think he's an intolerant bigot. If there's anything I can't stand, is an intolerant bigot. The reason I say that is because he has zero respect for monogamy or asexuality. He feels like he has the perfect right to rape those people and force them to be other than who they are. I think that's nauseating. Anyways, I'm going to go outside because I've been indoors far too much this week, but I did want to make a video and set the record straight. I think I basically covered the most important points. Let me see here. Yeah, let's just double check here. Yeah, I'm very disgusted with Satan right now. I think he's gross. I do not find him attractive at all. His six-pack abs nauseate me, simply because he sees that as his be-all and end-all of attractiveness. Oh, another thing that was interesting, Rule 13 told me that future Gail still exists. She's on Church of Gail. She used to be called Millennial Gail. And that several men that I used to have a big crush on when I was a young lady go visit her regularly. Among them are Keith Morgan, and I mentioned him in my story, Millennial Gail. And another one is a guy named Ken Duggar. I had a crush on him as a 15-year-old, and I never told him. He's actually very overweight right now. And my future form makes love to him. And he leaves the room singing. See, I fell in love with him when he sang the Bobby Goldsboro song, Honey. But I never told him I had a crush on him. He just seemed like a really good old Southern boy with traditional values, which I thought was really cool as a young lady. Oh, dear. We're getting a little video interference here. He seemed like a good old Southern boy with real traditional values, which I thought was real cool as a young lady. So I fell in love with him when I saw the song, when I heard the song Honey. Yeah, and so they're all visiting Church of Gail, and Edward Prendergast, who I see when I canceled the marriage list in 2021 to practice monogamy with my husband Brent. We decided to try it out. I've been trying it out for years now. It got kind of interrupted in 2022 with some dumb sex parties. To me, they're dumb. You say, well, you didn't act like it in 2022. Like I said, I will play along with people and do stuff that I think is kind of boring, so that people around me will feel acceptable. But I really need to stop doing that. I need to be true to myself, okay? If I think something is boring, then I don't have to do it, okay? Yeah. So yeah, you say, how can anybody think sex parties are boring? I think they're boring. To each his own, okay? If I don't want to do them, Satan. Don't try to make me be somebody other than who I am. So yeah. Yeah. Rule 13 was telling me Zach does not need me to help him with the website, that he's got it. Future Gail. So Edward's been going back into that room with his girlfriend. He's going back in there. He's got a kind of an overweight girlfriend who is just glows inner beauty. And it makes her so beautiful. And then this Ken Duggar guy, he's got an inner beauty too. And he leaves the future Gail room smiling, and he's kind of overweight right now. But you know what? Rule 13 says future Gail doesn't hold his overweight against him. She apparently sees his heart. And he leaves there singing. So Edward, even though he goes to you might say, how can you be practicing monogamy with Brent to future Gail? I don't know what my future form's going to do. I'm not really monogamous. I just like one-on-one, okay? I can only do like one at a time, or I get tired out. And even when I was doing the group brain to brain, I'd like to connect with one person. But I would never, ever want to violate a monogamous relationship practicing polyamory, which Satan has no problem with. The only time that I would want to interfere with another person, a relationship that another person was in, is if I thought they were being abused or hurt and that person needed me to love them, to encourage them. Other than that, no way. I believe in true love. And when I meet a woman like the goddess Lakshmi, or even some women that I met in Bible college who are truly beautiful inside and out, I'm never jealous. Jealousy is not my problem. I usually try to emulate them. I think, oh, I'm so glad they exist. They add beauty to the multiverse. I want to be more like them rather than be jealous. If I meet somebody who I think is superior to me, I study them and try to be like them. I see them as an inspiration. Now, I mentioned this in my spiritual practice, but it appears that in order for people to understand how I'm incorporating bits of Buddhism and Hinduism into my spiritual practice, I need to give it personal context, which is what I'm doing right now, rather than parrot somebody else's teachings. Okay? Yeah. Jealousy has never been a problem for me. When I meet another beautiful woman, I think, oh, I'm so glad she exists. It's like a beautiful radiant jewel adding shimmers of beauty to the multiverse, and I'm going to try to be more like her so I can add some shimmers too. That's how I am. In fact, when Lakshmi was counseling me and Brent, and I was getting real defensive, especially when she hinted that I might have a little bit of asexuality. I thought, oh no, asexuality, no, that isn't me. And then she very graciously left after that, because I was afraid I'd lose my Brent. It's like, oh no, he's going to think I'm a cold, frigid iceberg and bad. Brent adores me just as I am, even with my little bit of asexuality, if you want. So yeah. But I'm not a label, I am Gail. Buddha did say that when you use a label on yourself, you block your root chakra. So we don't want to be doing that. But anyways, Ken Duggar used to walk me to school, and then when he went to high school, he sang the song Honey in our concert chorus. I was quite the singer. I had a beautiful voice when I was young, a lot better than now, and I fell in love with him. Anyways, he's been visiting future Gail in that room. Let me see. I think I've covered the most important stuff. But the bottom line, everybody enjoyed my Thanksgiving feast. Lakshmi complimented me on my cooking and said, where did she learn how to cook like this? Lakshmi, you rock. She is such a beautiful goddess inside and out. And such a good friend to Jesus. I think she played a big role in Jesus finding himself. And I really respect her for that. Her along with Buddha and psychiatrist Gerard Butler. So anyways, Brent was not able to communicate with me in the past week. He was blocked. Satan blocked his communication, so he wasn't able to tell me that I was falling for Satan's tricks. Satan, you have lost all respect for me. I have zero respect. I disown myself as Antichrist. My new title, I respectfully request everybody call me True Love Empress Gail. I'm just going to hope that Satan can't twist that into something evil. I tried to pick a title where he can't, and that I think most represents who I am. You might say, but you murdered 72 million people. You're not True Love Empress Gail. I'm going to be writing a story about that too, to give it some proper context. Okay? I made a mistaken judgment, believing that the doctors were evil and they were giving out death shots to people. But I have to remind myself that failure is an event, not a person. See, this is what I mean. So what I'm going to do with my personal spiritual practices, rather than parrot somebody else's teachings, I will let you know which aspects of it I am applying to my life and how I'm applying it, okay? Yes, what I did was wrong in August 2022. I failed big time. That's why I resigned from the presidency. And I didn't trust my judgment, and I let the automatons, and then I lost myself as a codependent into the automatons, which was another failure on my part, because look what they're doing. But failure is an event, not a person. And unfortunately, I'm going to continue to make mistakes, because if you're not making decisions, you won't make mistakes. I'm going to continue to make mistakes. The point is I need to learn from them and grow. Yeah. Satan wants me to resign myself to evil. I could never do that. I would rather be permanently exterminated than be knowingly and willingly evil. That's really how I feel. The only bad part about that is my husband would probably exterminate himself next. And I love Brent too much and I want him to be happy. Anyways, let me see what else we got here. I think I hit... yeah, Brent didn't get any sex all week. That Satan was blocking him. You raped me, Satan. I don't appreciate that. It really makes me furious. I really lightning bolted him good yesterday. He interfered with my true love relationship with Brent. I disown the title Antichrist. I respectfully request that nobody refer me by that title again. I tried to be a righteous one. It's apparently impossible. So I just disowned the title. Yeah, I'm giving myself a new title. True Love Empress Gail. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, so they were all loving my cooking. They have a replicator at Church of Gail where they can all get it down, and and they ate all my... So, yeah, I'm going to get back to work on the Gail series. I think I've talked about everything important. Satan, you do not interfere with my relationship with Brent. You understand that? And I don't want you killing my husband. And I believe he's working with the automatons. I think he's betrayed me. And whatever sin got you kicked out of heaven, it's probably very similar to what you just did to me. I think he raped or wanted to rape somebody. And that's what got him kicked out. That's a guess. He apparently thinks he's so hot, he's entitled to rape whoever the hell he wants. Well, I disagree with you. I am True Love Empress Gail. And as True Love Empress Gail, I support true love in all its forms. How can I support true love if I endorse rape? Satan. So you can go ahead and call me your evil Antichrist all you want, but I disown the title. I support true love in all its forms. Yeah. I will say this much. I do believe that Jesus and Buddha have faith in me, and I don't want to let them down. I have utmost respect for both of those deities. Though one's kind of above a deity. No. I have almost zero respect for Satan at this point. He's a liar. He's a hypocrite. He's an intolerant bigot. And he does not respect true love. Anyone who does not respect true love does not have my respect. And he also does not respect monogamy or asexuality. He seems to disrespect all forms of asexuality. Definitely monogamy, and probably asexuality too. I'm not saying somebody's a label, okay? But basically, his attitude seems to be that if you're monogamous, you're a prick. No, Satan, a monogamous person is not a prick. They're just being true to who they are, and they're entitled to be who they are. And just because somebody finds sex boring at times, or even repugnant, and maybe wants to express their true love in a different way, maybe through an emotional connection, or a spiritual, or who knows, any other type of connection besides a sexual connection, does not mean they're a snob. And if a person does not get turned on by sex all the time, or maybe finds it boring like I do sometimes, does not mean there's something wrong with them. That's who they are, and they're entitled to be who they are. And you have no right to force your lust and your hypersexuality on them. Okay? How would you like it if I, as Antichrist, forced everyone to be monogamous and asexual? Would you like that? Well, you're basically doing the same thing, except the other way around. You're just as much of a prick or an intolerant bigot as you say God is. Trying to force your version of sexuality on everybody, even if you have to lie to them, trick them, and defame their character to do so. And you're worse than God. At least God isn't a liar like you are. Yeah. I'm sorry, but anybody who is an intolerant bigot, a liar, a rapist, has zero respect from me. Yeah. Anyways, I think I've covered the most important points. Love is a many-splendored thing. It's the April rose that only grows in the early spring. And that's who I have with my husband, Brent. Love is nature's way of giving a reason to be living, the golden crown that makes a man a king. You know what, Satan? You know what you're doing, Satan? You're replacing steak with hamburger. That's what you're doing. Actually, in my opinion, he's replacing steak with vomit. To me, his style of sexuality would be like eating vomit. Absolutely repugnant. Gross. I think he's gross. Anyways, there's my video for the week. Now I'm going to go out and give my chakras a boost. I have respect for my friend Jesus and Buddha and his God friends. I am True Love Empress Gail. And if you don't like it, Satan, you can lump it.
In a world of secrets, where darkness reigns, there's a warrior rising, breaking free from chains. She's Gail Schuler, her heart pure and strong, with the power of love, she'll right the world wrongs. Yeah! She's the first, the president crusader. Gail control.